Welcome to Manna at the Tap, a podcast of Tapestry Ministries. Each episode reflects on a daily Bible reading from the Revised Common Lectionary. I'm Gloria, a fellow traveler on a spiritual journey with the Tapestry community. We call the daily Bible reading our spiritual manna. This daily manna nourishes our souls and fosters spiritual growth as we share insights and interpretations that enrich our spiritual lives. The lectionary reading for Sunday, February the 23rd, 2025, concludes a trilogy about Jacob, a father, and his sons from the book of Genesis. Now, if you're new here, please watch the podcast from February 20th and 21st, 2025 for the first and second episodes. The global famine forced Jacob to send his 10 sons to Egypt to purchase grain, where his presumed dead son Joseph serves as second in command to Pharaoh and has the authority to sell grain. Joseph recognized the 10 middle aged men as his half brothers. They had abused him during his teenage years because he was his father's favorite son. Although he had nearly forgotten much of his childhood trauma, after becoming a father himself, seeing his 10 half brothers resurfaced painful memories within. When they approached him to buy grain, he treated them harshly. But they said to him, "Honestly, we are the sons of one man. One brother is with him, and one is dead." They had no idea where those words would lead them. Joseph frightened them by imprisoning them for a couple of days before releasing them and inviting them to lunch at his home. He then sent the bewildered men back with grain. And when they returned home, they told their father all that had taken place, and he was upset because they had spoken too much to that man in Egypt. They had revealed that their father was alive and that a younger brother was at home with him. It had been nearly 2 years, and with over 100 people to feed each day, Jacob told his sons to return to Egypt to buy more grain. The man in Egypt was firm. The 10 sons reminded their father Jacob, "No Benjamin, no grain." Jacob eventually gave in and entrusted Benjamin, the child who offered him comfort, to his fourth son, Judah. Joseph struggled to manage his emotions upon seeing his brother, his mother's child. The brothers celebrated with Joseph, and then he sent them home with grain, this time placing his silver cup secretly in Benjamin's sack. The lectionary reading is Genesis 45, verses 3 to 11 and 15. The Great Reveal. Joseph treated his brothers harshly during their first visit to buy grain in Egypt. He frightened and manipulated them, but refrained from revealing his true identity. But having seen his brother Benjamin and learning that his father was still alive, he became softer and more gracious. His dream had been fulfilled. Please follow along with the story and listen to the podcast from February 20th and 21st, 2025, if you are just joining us. Joseph's silver cup was discovered in Benjamin's sack. The punishment was death for the individual, while the others were to return home to their father in peace. Judah approached Joseph to plead for Benjamin's life on behalf of their father Jacob, whose life was closely tied to that of Benjamin. Judah realized that Jacob's well being was at stake, and he feared that if Benjamin failed to return home, he, Judah, would be responsible for his father's demise. Joseph can't take it anymore. Several times during his meetings with his brothers, he has had to leave the room in search of a private place to cry. But now it has become too much. His emotions are boiling over, and he's unable to control them. He sends the Egyptians out of the room and he cries out to his brothers, "I'm Joseph. Is my father still alive?" His brothers remain silent and speechless. They stare in disbelief, filled with terror. Joseph pleads with them to come closer, and he reassures them not to be distressed or angry with themselves for selling him. Joseph possesses the power to forgive. Once powerless, he is now empowered to forgive his brothers for the wrongs they committed against him. How was he able to achieve this? He informed his brothers that God had played a significant role in everything that had transpired in his life. And he framed his brothers' harmful actions within the context of God's plan to save the entire family from the looming famine, which still had 5 years to go. This was not easy for Joseph to forgive his brothers, but he wanted them to take responsibility for their actions, and he wanted them to confess the truth to their father about what they had done. And then he wanted them to inform their dad about his success in Egypt. Joseph did not immediately forgive them, but when he observed the changes in Judah, the brother who had sold him into slavery many years before, and how Judah had offered to take Benjamin's place for the sake of their father Jacob, he felt reassured that his brothers were not mistreating Benjamin. Joseph sought reconciliation, not retribution. He decided to be gracious towards his brothers, and he invited the entire family to come and stay with him in Egypt, where he would take care of their every need. What would you do if it were you in Joseph's position? Would you have been willing to forgive the brothers? If you appreciate my storytelling, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.